Welcome to the Shifting Inward podcast, where we explore the mindset blocks that keep entrepreneurs stuck. Your mind is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions drive your success. When you shift what's happening internally, everything externally starts to move. Hi, I'm Joe Risk, and in this episode, I'm sharing my story, how I got here, what led me to create Shifting Inward, and why this work matters so much to me. So let's get into it. So let me start by telling you a little about myself. I've been an entrepreneur since 2002. That's over 20 years of building businesses, learning what works, and honestly, learning what doesn't work. I'm also a husband, married for 24 years, and a father to 4 boys ranging from ages 4 to 18 years old. So life is busy, to say the least. The chief cornerstone of my faith is my Lord Jesus Christ, and that foundation shapes how I show up in business and in life. Over the years, I've had experiences in a lot of different areas. I've worked as a sales engineer, a realtor, a loan officer, and even a photographer. And there are a few more, but I'm not going to get into every single one. I've done B2C, B2B sales, so business to client, business to business sales and marketing. And I've had several businesses as partners with my wife. So primarily my wife and I have been always in business together, doing stuff together, pretty much since we met. And here's what all of that has taught me. My real passion has always been running my own business, building something from the ground up and being in control of my own decisions. For years, I was consumed by trying to find the perfect formula for success. I tried many strategies, frameworks, every piece of education I could find. I worked hard, really hard, putting in the hours, doing what everyone said I should do. But despite all that effort, I wasn't moving forward. Not professionally, not personally. I was stuck, and I couldn't figure out why. Looking back now, I can see that I had limiting beliefs running the show underneath the surface. Beliefs about what I was capable of. Beliefs about what was possible for me, Joe. Beliefs about success and whether I deserved it. Me as a person, do I really deserve this? Or is this meant for others and not for me? But at that time, I didn't see any of that. I just thought I needed to work harder, learn more, and find the right strategy. And the frustration of working hard without seeing the results I wanted, that was really wearing on me. And honestly, there was a period when I got so stuck that I literally just stopped. I was completely burnt out. I worked very little because of deep down, I was exhausted. I was just like, that time was hard for me. And it's hard to think about, and it's hard to bring it up. There were just days where I just couldn't do anything, you know? I woke up feeling totally unmotivated, frustrated, and just feeling like total defeat, internal defeat. So it was very difficult. It was very difficult, to say the least. Everything changed in 2024 when I had this profound realization. I realized that it wasn't about needing another strategy or another course. The problem was on the inside. The problem was my mindset. And I didn't realize this just out of the blue. At this point, I had been listening to other things and other people, and just little at a time, it was just chiseling away at like analyzing who I am, rethinking, am I doing this right? Or what else could be going on besides just the business stuff? Like, what is it about me personally that's causing this kind of stuck feeling and this kind of inability to move forward or just to lose motivation and inspiration? So that's when I started exploring what was going on internally. I began identifying the patterns, beliefs, and narratives that have been running in the background all along. So I want to focus on the narratives portion. It's kind of interesting that my whole life I don't I don't remember having a narrative exactly, but when you think about it or when you start paying attention to your thoughts, you start to really see there's truly a pattern of words that you say to yourself. You can call it an internal conversation or just like core beliefs that you have about life or about yourself. But these narratives, they're so powerful, and yet they're kind of running in the background. They're not really conscious thoughts. You really have to stop and think about it or really like pay attention. And they happen in an instant all day long. So it's very interesting when you start thinking about the narratives that you're telling yourself. Narratives like, wow, advertising is so hard. I don't think I'm ever going to figure this out. Just that one thing. I'm just giving you a quick example. When you say something like I'm never going to figure this out, you're literally wiring your brain to ensure that this belief is not broken, that this belief is realized, and so it kind of like reinforces that pattern over and over again in your mind, and therefore it reinforces it in your everyday life. Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent right now, so let me get back to my original thought. I started doing more work on the inside. And within a pretty short period of time, I started noticing actual changes. Not just how I felt, not just emotional, but how I was actually showing up in my life. My wife even started to notice. She would see me handling things differently, responding to situations with more clarity, more calm, and more positive outlook. I used to be super negative and mostly internally, of course. I wasn't negative towards other people. I was always positive towards other people, always encouraging to them. But anyway, I digress. I was super negative on the inside. And that's when I knew it was real, is when I started to get feedback from outside of myself, when my wife actually noticed. One of the biggest shifts for me was learning to give myself grace. Instead of beating myself up about my habits or my level of success or how slow I was feeling that I was progressing in life, I started to extend compassion to myself. And here's what made it click. I realized I was really good at giving grace to other people. When someone was being hard on themselves, I always found the good in their efforts. I always found something encouraging to say, and I would always try to build them up and make them see their own progress, even when they couldn't see it. And it really came very naturally to me to do that. But for some reason, when it came to myself, I was brutal. I was truly my own worst critic. So I asked myself, how can I extend the same compassion, grace, and empathy towards myself as I so easily extend towards others? Why am I holding myself at such a completely different standard? And that question changed everything. I stopped tearing myself down and I started being my biggest supporter. And that's when it all clicked. This inner shift, this change in my inner dialogue or narrative that we said before, that was my mindset work. It was creating real, tangible results in my life and in my business. You know, I always thought self care was about taking breaks or just relaxing and taking it easy. But I realized that self care isn't just external, it's internal as well. It's the inner dialogue that gives you grace and forgiveness without judgment or condemnation. That's real self care. And I had never given it to myself before. Once I started seeing these real tangible changes in my life, I started to get excited. And I thought, if this could shift things for me, it could most definitely shift things for others who are stuck in the same mindset patterns. And here's the thing, I've always had a heart for service. It has always brought me joy to help people, build them up, and support their growth. So I realized I can merge the two together. I can take what I learned about mindset work and offer it to other entrepreneurs who need it just as much as I did. So this isn't just a business for me, it's more of a calling. And here's something I want to share with you. It's a bit of a secret, but not really. I'm just going to tell you. I'm doing this work for me just as much as I'm doing it for you, if not more, to be honest. Every podcast episode I record, every worksheet I create, every conversation I have about mindset, that's me reinforcing the very principles that keep me moving forward. It keeps me in the right mindset for growth and it keeps my momentum going. Because mindset work isn't just something you do once and then check it off your list. It's ongoing, it's daily, it's constant. And I need these reminders just as much as anyone else, if not more. And that's what I love about this work. It's not a one-time fix. It's a lifelong practice, which means there's always room for continuous improvement, always room to grow, always room to evolve. For me, it's about moving away from stagnation and into renewal, into personal growth. And here's what I've learned. Personal growth always leads to professional growth. So when you shift internally, everything externally starts to move. Just like I say in all of my intros, because it's something I'm really, truly passionate about and I truly believe it. And that's it. That's the work. That's what shifting inward is all about. Thanks for letting me share my story with you today. If this resonated, drop a comment and let me know, because I'd love to hear about your journey as well. And I invite you to join our school community to connect with other entrepreneurs who are breaking through mindset blocks and supporting and celebrating each other's growth. The link is in the description. I'm Joe, and I help entrepreneurs shift inward so they can move forward. See you next time.